Hi everyone, my name is Chris Fay. I am the author of Write with Fay, 10 Sparks to Guide You from Idea to Publication, and Keep Writing with Fay, Sparks to Defeat Writer's Block, Depression, and Burnout. This presentation is about how to write action. Many writers have a hard time with action. They struggle to find the rhythm, describe what is happening, and make it exciting. For this presentation, I'll provide 10 tips to help you write action. Tip number 1, show action and reaction. In a fight, every movement and every action from one person causes a reaction from their opponent. What happens when someone receives a punch? The person's head turns with the impact, they stagger, and they can even fall. Bones breaking and blood gushing is also a reaction. Examples of action-reaction are, he shot off a round of bullets, she dodged them and fired back. Her fist connected with his face, breaking his nose. Tip number 2, describe, describe, describe. Create vivid prose by using the 5 senses: sight, taste, smell, touch, and sound. You don't have to weigh down every paragraph with all 5 senses though. Sprinkle in a sense or two throughout the scene. Is there a fight in your book? Let your readers hear the clatter of colliding blades. Describe the metallic taste of blood in your character's mouth after getting hit in the jaw. Detail the pain your character feels from a wound, even a scratch. How does the weapon feel in your character's hand? Is it raining? Describe the raindrops hitting your character in the face and making his grip slippery. Can your character smell gunpowder from a hot gun or wet dirt beneath his feet? Maybe your character can smell the sweat dripping off their opponent. No matter where your character is or what's happening, you will be able to find things to detail that cover the senses. Also, describe how a character moves, so readers feel as if they are beside him or her on the battlefield. An action scene doesn't have to be a fight though. An action scene could be a car crash. What does your character see seconds before an accident? Describe the sound of bending metal and shattering glass, and later, sirens if he or she is still conscious. Tell readers about the glass pelting your character's face, nicking his skin, or your character slamming into the airbag. Does he smell gasoline after the crash? There's a lot with the senses that can be incorporated into action scenes to make it real and vivid. Tip number 3, use strong action verbs. Don't use the same verbs over and over again. A thesaurus can help you to find a good alternative. I see a lot of repetition when I edit for clients. If you repeat a word, especially a verb, in the same sentence or back-to-back sentences in a paragraph, it is noticeable. So here are some other alternatives for commonly used verbs: ran, raced, sprinted, dashed, shot, bolted, darted, escaped, and tore. Jumped, sprang, lunged, pounced, vaulted, lurched, jerked, and flinched. Turned, spun, revolved, twisted, pivoted, wheeled, whirled, and swiveled. Although these are all synonyms, be sure to know their meanings, as not all synonyms work for every instance. Tip number 4, write short sentences. Short sentences quicken the reading pace and give the illusion of fast action. Writing a few short sentences will speed things up, but try not to write too many sentences this way. Variety is best. And this is an example. The characters in it are actually from a writer's group and a writer's meeting that I attend once a month. For example, MJ raced into Walgreens for peanut butter cups. The store was packed though. She hustled past the long lines. 2 kids hopped in her way. She dodged them. Then a cart shot out of an aisle. She skid to a stop, barely avoiding colliding into it. As soon as the woman went by, MJ sprang forward. Her sneakers pounded the tile. Her heart raced. She needed her peanut butter cups. Just when she was nearing the aisle, a horde of clowns emerged and surrounded her. She let out a scream. Tip number 5, use all of a sudden and suddenly sparingly. There are better ways to introduce a new shocking moment without using the word sudden. One way is to use inner dialogue, such as no, help, stop. A sound, bang, is another way to accomplish this. Or you could just dive into the moment without a cue and let your readers come to the conclusion that what they're reading is happening suddenly. Tip number 6, don't forget dialogue. Action is not all about what a character does, but what a character says. In the case of a fight, have your character spit threats back and forth. For example, "I'm going to kill you," he said. She clenched her hands into fists. "You can try." Also, injecting a character's inner dialogue can add a great deal of suspense. "This is it," he thought. "I'm going to die." Tips 7, 8, and 9. Read books by your favorite authors and study how they write action. Note words and phrases they use, but don't plagiarize. Tip number 8. Get into the mood for writing action. Listen to rock music or any kind of song with a fast beat that gets your blood pumping. This is something that I do all the time. And tip number 9. Watch an action movie. Write the scene in your book as if you're watching it unfold on a television screen. This is a great strategy for writing action. Watching movies can help you to understand the rhythm and flow of fighting. It can also give you ideas. Depending on what you need to write, find movies that show a lot of it and study them. How do the characters move in fight scenes? What do you see when there's an explosion? When a car crashes? Now write the scene in your book as if you're watching it unfold. This is something that I do too. There was a work in progress that I was working on years ago, post-apocalyptic, and I watched a Resident Evil movie and Terminator Salvation in order to get ideas for that. And I literally had a notebook and a pen and I was taking notes. So make sure that the movie you are watching to get ideas from is one that you have seen before, because this tip doesn't work very well if it's a movie you haven't seen before. Because obviously you just want to sit there and enjoy it, not study it. Tip number 10, act it out. I talk out loud to myself when I need to create dialogue between my characters. I also act out fight scenes. Not very well, of course, but I do it. Granted, I can't move or do half the things a fighter can do, but by acting it out the best I can understand how a body moves and better describe the movement with words. Something else that you can do if you're like me and you can't move very well, you can use one of those little wooden art dummies. You can have it on your desk and you can move their arms and legs around to figure out poses and find the best way to describe those poses. With these tips, you should be able to write an exciting action scene. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them in the comment section below. But before you go, I have an action writing exercise for you. You can pause this screen so you can actually write this exercise. Using what you learned from this PowerPoint presentation, write a paragraph of action. Use 2 or more of these techniques: short sentences, action and reaction, 2 or more senses, sight, smell, sound, touch, taste, strong action verbs, and of course, don't forget to describe, describe, describe. If possible, add dialogue or internal dialogue for suspense. And don't forget to check out my books, Write with Faye and Keep Writing with Faye. They are available in print and ebook everywhere ebooks are sold.